Hi everyone, welcome back to Cotto Verde. My name's Annette and today I'm going to give you an update on the pots that we have outside the front door. In previous videos I've shown you how I changed all the pots and updated the look so that they were mostly galvanized, and I showed you what I planted in them because this is a very shady area and I thought that might be helpful for some people. And today I'm going to show you how the plants are looking after a full summer's growth and how they've got through the winter. It's the middle of January, towards the end of January, and I'll show you how they're looking today, and I'll talk about things that I found were successful and maybe some of the mistakes I made and how I'm going to change things up for the future. Stay till the end of the video because I've also got some exciting news to show you. So in this area on the right hand side of the front door, one of the heucheras in this pot right behind me died. And I don't know why it died. It didn't have vine weevils, it just wasn't happy there. So I replaced it with a plant called a Leucotho or Leucothi, I don't know how you pronounce it. I've heard it pronounced many different ways actually, so maybe no one knows. But it's a beautiful plant that is evergreen, but it has this gorgeous sort of red leaves that look fabulous. And I thought they would see me through the festive season and then sort of go with sort of the pinky theme that I've got going on here that I thought would look really nice with the green colour we have for our front door. So then in front of that Leucotho, I replaced hosta blue mouse ears that wasn't looking very happy because it was getting swamped. I replaced it with, I actually don't know what the plant's called, but it's covered in white berries, and I thought, well, I know that these berries stay on the plants for a really long time. If I can find out what it's called, I'll put it up on the screen. And then next to that, in another space, I've planted a hebe. It's really little, but actually I think it's going to do better in this pot because it will be evergreen throughout the season, and it's not going to die back like the astilbe has because they're perennials and they die back right down to ground level. What I'm going to do in the spring is lift the astilbe, plant it in one of the beds, and then replace that space in the pot with something that's going to be evergreen. So at this point, wouldn't you know it, my mic stopped working, so I'm going to do a voiceover for the rest of it. What I'm showing you here is how wonderful the next pot looked throughout the summer. We had this gorgeous white begonia and the beautiful blue pomoniums that just carried on flowering. And actually I haven't had to do anything with this pot over the winter because the pomonium has just taken up all the space and it's this lovely green mound. The topaz heuchera is getting slightly swamped at the back there, so I'm probably going to have to give it its own space next year, but you live and you learn, and that's one of the things I've learned. So then the next plant along is this gorgeous Pittosporum. I absolutely love the Pittosporum. It's just got this variegated leaf and I love the silvery colour. It goes really well with the paintwork we chose for our front door. This heuchera is called Cinnabar Silver, and you can see how beautifully it goes with that begonia. The hosta blue mouse ears were getting swamped. Anyway, the begonia has been taken out for the winter, and I'm just left with the heuchera, and it's basically filled the basket, but I may have to move that to a bed because actually I want something with a bit more consistent height in that spot. I think it sort of dips too much there. I love this gorgeous trough. The begonias did really well. They were huge, but they were slightly droopy, and the dichondra really filled up the space. The astilbes, as you saw previously, were wonderful. They just didn't last very long, but we had to take the begonias out because they're not frost hardy, and the dichondra wasn't really going to do well this winter, and so I replaced those with what turned out to be heather. That was a mistake because I'm not a great lover of heather. So I replaced the dichondra in the middle with this lovely cordyline called Pink Star, and I thought with the pink it's going to look fantastic. It will get really tall though, so I'm thinking of replacing the heuchera behind it, and then we'll get the height that I'm looking for. The Brennera Alexandra's Great in this pot here was absolutely fabulous. I love the leaves. The thing is, it gets really big really quickly, so it kind of swamped the begonia, and I think it probably crowded out the fern, and that picea is just not going to survive in there. So next year I think I'm just going to leave the Brennera in that pot, take the other two out, and give the Brennera the space that it really wants. The problem is going to be that during the winter I'll have to plant around it with something else. I mean, that's not a problem. I can just go and get something pretty to plant around it for the winter months. This pot behind has another pulmonium that did incredibly well, and then behind it is the most gorgeous hosta white feather, And again, I think it's a hosta that just needs a lot of space, but during the winter there isn't really much there, you can't see it. So even though hostas really love the shade, I'm not convinced that I'm going to keep hostas in these pots, because look at that big space that's just sitting there looking a bit empty, and you can't plant something on top of that root ball. So this is how colourful and beautiful I thought everything looked at the end of September. I did take a video and I was going to post it, but I was away for a very long time. But begonias really popped and I loved them. I'm just very sad about how droopy they were, but I thought everything went really well with the pots. I thought the shades of green really picked up the galvanised metal, and everything on the other side of the front door was pretty much the same plants, and through the winter I've replaced the same things on the other side, so I won't go through all those again. And now is the big reveal that I was talking about at the beginning of the video, where I show you, ta-da! So these are the pots that I found at Buck's Retro and Vintage. They are a local store and they've got such an eclectic mix of wonderful things, and I just keep checking back because I love window shopping there. But then I found these amazing French wine barrels. As you can see, they've got stoppers at the bottom which will let the water drain out, so I don't have to drill any holes in the bottom of them, which is great because that wood is quite thick. They hopefully are going to bring the height that I need to this area, and as you can see, I also found this really gorgeous tall galvanized planter, so I'm so excited. Well, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video and found it useful and interesting, and if you did, do subscribe to my channel because it really helps me to produce more videos like this that maybe will inspire you and show you how everybody can garden and how we all learn by trial and error. And if you press the bell button, then you'll get notified every time I post a video and you won't miss any. Thank you so much for watching and joining me today, and see you all next time. So the pot next to that